Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here with another Wi-Fi battle. So today we have a battle against Chris. This is a competitive battler we got off of Discord. So yeah, looking at his team on the side there, looks to be a pretty strong, pretty interesting looking team there. Looking at my team, it is the same one that we've been using the past several games here. So what do I want to lead with in this one? Um, hmm. I think we're gonna go with the Palo Sand in this one, actually. Seems to be a relatively decent choice. And, so yeah, we'll go ahead and see how that works out. So here we go. I think, this guy is also known as Pokemaster88 from the Discord server, as some would say. Um, but yeah, so there he is, and he's going to go ahead and lead with the Kilo Wattrel as we led with the Palo Sand. So that's actually not too bad for us. Now this thing could hit us with a flying attack, though it can't hit us with an electric attack. Not sure exactly what set he's going to have on deck here, so I think what we're going to do right out of the gate, I don't really want to switch right away since we know he can't really pivot on us. We're just going to go for the Stealth Rock, try to get the entry hazard set up here, as he is actually just going to go ahead and bust his Terra out straight out of the gate here. So he's going to go ahead and Terrastalize the Kilo Wattrel into a water type, so that's bad news, obviously. Because he's probably just going to hit us with a Terra Blast Water. Might take us out if he's choice specs. So there he goes. He is going to go for the Terra Blast Water as expected. And is it going to take us out? That is the question. And yes, it is going to take us out in one shot, actually, despite being max HP invested. So that is definitely choice specs damage. If I've ever seen it. So that is an unfortunate start to the game for us, because that's going to knock us down to 5 Pokemon right out of the gate. So that sucks. The only good news here is that we can relatively safely assume that this thing is choice specs. So we're going to go ahead and come in with the Brute Bonnet at this point. And yeah, that is really unfortunate for us. The only positive thing about this situation is we should be able to go ahead and get a Spore to put something to sleep here. So I feel like that's really the best play. So that's what we're going to do here. And we'll see what he wants to do, as he is indeed going to switch out, so kind of confirmation that he's choice specs. I feel like we could have lived that if he wasn't. But anyway, he's going to go ahead and come in with the Heracross there, as we are going to go for the Spore and just go ahead and put this thing right to sleep, which is, of course, going to be great news for us. So, yeah, with this thing asleep, unfortunately, we don't have any business staying in on this thing with the Heracross, so, or in on the Heracross with the Brute Bonnet, that is. So, what do we want to switch into here? I feel like that does suck, though, because the Palo Sand definitely could have put in a lot of work against this team, so that definitely sucks losing that early like that, but predicting a Terra is not very easy, to say the least. So I think the only thing we can really do here, I think we're just going to go ahead and we're going to switch directly into the Raichu, actually, see what he wants to do here. As it looks like he probably does stay in to burn a turn of sleep here, so going to go ahead and switch the Raichu in here, as he is going to stay asleep. I believe there is 1 turn of sleep guaranteed, so that's good news for us. So we do get in for free, which is nice. So in this situation, we definitely don't want to go for an electric attack, I think, right now, just because he has 2 potential electric immunities on deck with the Kilo Wattrel if it has Volt Absorb, but also the Gardevoir could trace our Lightning Rod. So we're going to play it safe here, and we're just going to go for a normal Terra Blast, max special attack choice specs. He is going to go for the switch here, and we'll see what he wants to switch in with. It is going to be the Kilo Wattrel, of course. So he comes in with that, and yeah, pretty safely assume that thing's Volt Absorb. We're going to go for the normal Terra Blast on this thing, max special attack choice specs. It does knock this thing down to about a quarter HP, which is great damage, but not quite enough to get the kill, unfortunately. So I think we definitely have to switch out here, because this thing definitely does naturally outspeed us. The only problem is he definitely has a lot of solid plays that he could make here, and our team does not handle the coverage that the Kilowattrel has on deck very well, especially without the Palisand. So I think our best bet here is going to be to go ahead and switch to the Altaria. So that's what we're going to do, actually, as we do resist the water and the electric. If he's got flying on deck, obviously we can't resist that, but I don't know if he would go for that against the Raichu, but he is just going to go for a Terra Blast Water again here, so he's going to hit us up with that. How much damage is it going to do to us? Not too much, actually, so he may actually not be choice specs based on that damage, but yeah, we can't really say for sure, but we do take that really well, which is nice. So one thing's for sure, and that's that he's definitely not going to stay in here. So the question is, what does he switch into? I feel like it's a tough call, actually. Probably the Gardevoir, more than likely. So I think the best thing we can do here is we just need to get some chip, I guess. So we could Terrastalize into a Fairy type. I don't know how well that's going to help us. I feel like it won't actually help us too much here. So we're actually just going to go ahead and we'll go for a Fire Blast, predicting a switch on his side. And indeed, he does go for the switch. What is he going to bring in on us? It is going to be the Colossal, so that's kind of unfortunate. That thing's coming in as we go for the Fire Blast here, so that is would have been the least damaging move we could go for there, unfortunately, as we do take some Life Orb recoil as well. So unfortunately, I mean, I guess we could stay in on this thing. He probably just goes for a Stealth Rock to get the entry hazards up on us right now. So we could probably just stay in and hit this thing with a Draco Meteor. I don't know how much damage it would do, though. But yeah, I don't know if we want to do that. We do have switches out to this thing. I feel like the better play is probably to switch to the Barraskewda. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. We want to kind of conserve our or I should say our Altaria for the Kilowattrel as best we can, as we're going to switch in with that, as he indeed just goes for the Stealth Rock, gets the entry hazard up on us. Kind of expected that. But yeah, that just kind of is what it is there. So at this point, how do we want to play this? I feel like we could pretty safely go for a Liquidation here. Knowing that the Kilowattrel can't come in because it's at such low HP. So we're just going to go for the Liquidation here. Max Attack Choice Band should hit something really hard. So yeah, that's going to be the plan here, and we'll see what he wants to do. So if he does try to bring the Kilowattrel in, I don't think that thing can take one from the health that it's at for sure. But we'll see what he wants to do. He is actually just going to stay in and take the Liquidation. That's just going to destroy that Colossal outright, knock him down to 5. So he really didn't have a switch in there to the Barraskewda, so that worked out pretty well for us. So we get to get rid of the Colossal, which is nice. But now we're going to have to see what he brings in, and it is going to be the Belly Bolt. So that thing's coming in. So we don't want to stay in on this matchup because we don't want to lose the Barraskewda for no reason, obviously. We do have switches in here. What do we bring in on the Belly Bolt, though, is the real question. I think the answer to that is going to be the Altaria, actually, because we want to try and get those Stealth Rocks off before they can really dig into us too much. So we're going to switch in with the Altaria. We do resist this thing's stab move as well. We are going to take that Stealth Rock damage, which does hurt, as he is going to go for an Acid Spray. So that's not going to do too much damage to us, but it is going to drop our special defense harshly, which is not good. This turn, I think the best thing we can do is just go ahead and defog those rocks away. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. Yeah, we really just have to get rid of those rocks, as it is really going to eat our team if we don't get rid of them. So we really just kind of have to make that play here, see what he wants to do. We should outspeed this thing, as Belly Bolt's pretty slow if he does stay in. So, but we'll see what he wants to do here, as he's actually going to switch the Belly Bolt out and he's going to go ahead and come in with the Gardevoir this time, predicting the Dragon move. So that thing comes in, it does trace our natural cure, which doesn't really matter, as we are going to just go for the Defog here, which is going to cut this thing's evasion and get rid of the Stealth Rock more importantly. So, now the question becomes, how do we want to handle this Gardevoir? So, unfortunately, with Altaria at the health it's at, I don't know how much more use it's going to be. I don't know if it's worth switching to try and save this thing, as we don't have the best of switches in to the Gardevoir, unfortunately. So I feel like we might just have to let that go down. We might just have to let the Altaria go down here, which is kind of unfortunate, but we don't really have a safe switch into this thing right now. So I feel like we just kind of have to let this go down. So we're just going to actually just go for a Fire Blast here and see what he wants to do. He's actually just going to outspeed us, go straight for a Moon Blast. And obviously that's going to be more than enough to finish us off here, knocking us down to 4. So that is unfortunate, but we do get rid of the Stealth Rock, which is good. So at this point, I feel like our best course of action to face this thing down is going to be... How do we want to play this? We have a few different options, but I think the best option might be the Flareon, actually. So we're going to go ahead and come in with that. And, yeah, so we have to consider our options at this point here. He doesn't really have the best of switches into Flareon right now. Well, he does have one. I don't feel like he stays in on this matchup. So I think what we're going to do here is we're actually just going to go ahead and go straight for a Trailblaze. So that's what we're going to do. He does go for the switch. He could be bringing the Lycanroc in, and he is going to be bringing the Lycanroc in, which is great news for us. So that thing comes in, actually, and we are just going to get a Trailblaze on this thing, which is going to take it down by about half, which is actually great damage. And then we do get the speed increase, and we get poisoned off the Toxic Orb to activate our Guts, boosting our attack farther. So I think now is going to be our time. I think now is our time with Flareon to shine. So, we got to make a big move here, and the big move we're going to make is we're going to go all in on Flareon. We're going to go ahead and Terrasilize into a normal type, and do we go... The question is, I feel like at +1 we might actually outspeed this thing. So the question is, do we want to go for the Trailblaze to boost our speed farther, or do we want to go for the Quick Attack? That's the real question. Based on what he has left, I feel like the Trailblaze could be really good. So I think we outspeed this thing at +1, so we're going to go all in on the Flareon. We're going to Terrasilize into a normal type, losing all of our weaknesses to... losing all the fire weaknesses, of course. We're going to hope that at +1 we can outspeed this thing. And if we can't, the Terrasilization should let us take an attack from this thing. So there we are, Terra Normal Flareon. Unfortunately, we don't outspeed. He goes for the Stone Edge. It actually knocks us down to 27 HP, but we do survive. Go for the Trailblaze in return to get that second speed increase. That will take out the Lycanroc and knock him down to 4, so that's great. Unfortunately, with all that damage we took, we're not going to have too much longer on the field left with the Flareon as we take more poison damage. So, we're going to see if this pays off in the long run. We don't know for sure, but we are sitting at +2 speed with the Flareon now, which should allow us to outspeed most of his team, I believe, except for maybe the Kilowattrel. So he's going to go ahead and actually come in with the Heracross, which is interesting. So, I think what we do here is we just go straight for the Facade, because the Flare Blitz recoil will take us out. We might be able to survive another turn of poison damage, so we just go for the Facade here. I think that's the play. We should be outspeeding this thing, I think. So I think that's the best play at this point, as he actually double switches us here, so that's interesting. What's he predicting? I don't know. He's actually going to double switch to the Kilowattrel, which is an interesting play. Not sure why he would do that, but we just go for the Facade straight away here. Maybe he's just sacking the Kilowattrel, not sure, but either way, that thing will not take a Facade for sure. So his Kilowattrel is going to go down there, and he's going to go down to 3, so that is pretty incredible for us. As can we take the poison damage this turn is the question. No, unfortunately we cannot, so We're going to lose Flareon there to the poison damage, which sucks. That's going to knock us down to 3. But we got rid of the Kilowattrel, which is great. So we have a double down on the battlefield now. We're both going to get a blind switch in. I feel like the best play we can do is come in with the Raichu, so that's what we're going to do. So he's going to come in with the Heracross, probably to try and burn some sleep turns here, as we come in with the Raichu. So we should be outspeeding this thing. Unfortunately, he still does have the de facto electric immunity on deck in the form of the Gardevoir, because he's got the Gardevoir and the Belly Bolt. So I think our best course of action here is just to go for a Choice Spec Surf, try and hit this thing as hard as possible. So that's what we're going to do. He is actually going to switch out. He's probably going to go to the Gardevoir to try and get the Trace Lightning Rod, and that's exactly what he does. So he brings the Gardevoir in, he traces our Lightning Rod, giving him that electric immunity, but we do anticipate that and go for the Surf, which is great, and that is going to actually not do nearly as much damage to this thing as I'd hoped. So that takes this thing down by about a little less than half. So unfortunately, I think the best thing we can do here is actually just probably stay in, and we might just have to sack the Raichu to get more damage on the Gardevoir. So that's what we're going to do here, stay in and go Surf. We do outspeed this thing, next Surf incoming, and it's not quite enough to take this thing out, which really sucks. He goes Moonblast in return. We cannot survive that, which is really unfortunate. That's going to take the Raichu out and knock us down to 2. So that does suck, but the only good news about this is we do get a switch in now. And off this switch in, we're going to come in with our Barraskewda. So we come in with the Barraskewda, and at this point, there's really no reason for us not to just go ahead and go for our Choice Band Liquidation. So that's exactly what we're going to do. If he stays in, we know we outspeed him. If he switches out, we should get a big shot on something else. He actually does stay in. We go Choice Band Liquidation. Obviously, from that range, that is going to take the Gardevoir out and knock him down to 2 Pokemon. So we're pretty even. Timer's getting low, so we're pretty neck and neck here, as now he's going to come in with the Belly Bolt. So the question here is, do we try to get a big shot on this thing with the Barraskewda, or do we switch out? I feel like he very well just could Volt Switch on us here and bring the Heracross back in. So I feel like we probably, unfortunately, because we can't really do anything to the Heracross with the Brute Bonnet. That's the problem. So I think the best thing we can actually do here is stay in and try to hit this thing as hard as possible. So that's what we're going to do, I think. Yeah, I feel like that's our best chance. So we're going to go for it. We obviously outspeed this thing. He does stay in. Choice Band Liquidation, going to take this thing down by a little more than half. Does activate his Electromorphosis, as he is going to go for a Parabolic Charge. We actually can't take one of those, to my surprise. That's actually pretty shocking. We can't take one, so that's going to get rid of our Barraskewda and knock us down to just 1. So that kind of sucks. I kind of thought we could take one attack from this thing, but no, we actually could not. So that's really bad. So we're going to go down to just 1 Pokemon. Our last Pokemon is going to be the Brute Bonnet. So we're kind of in a bad spot here. I think the best thing we can do here, really the only thing we can do, is just Seed Bomb. So that's what we're going to do. He stays in. We go Seed Bomb. That does take him down to about half. Activates Electromorphosis again here, as he's going to Acid Spray. And that's not going to do too much damage to us, but it is going to cut our special defense harshly, which is a problem. So we do get some HP back here with the leftovers, and now it's going to kind of be, as he gets HP back with the leftovers as well, kind of going to be a race against time here. So I think the only thing we can do is just keep Seed Bombing, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We go for the next Seed Bomb here, and it's not quite enough to get the KO, unfortunately, as Electromorphosis keeps on activating. He goes for another Parabolic Charge. That knocks us down a little below half, and it also does give him a bunch of HP back there, as we are then going to regain some HP with the leftovers. So he's also going to get some HP back with the leftovers. It looks like it's going to be really close as to whether or not the next Seed Bomb takes him out, but unfortunately I don't think it does. and Seed Bomb is doing more damage than Sucker Punch, so all we can really do is just go for the next Seed Bomb, so that's what we're going to do. Is it going to be enough? No, unfortunately it is not enough to take this thing out, which really sucks. Nothing we can do about that. We actually do survive the next Parabolic Charge, which is cool, but unfortunately we're not in a great spot. So he does continue to regain HP from that, which really sucks, as we also both get some HP back from the leftovers. So we only have a minute left on the clock here. So there's not a whole lot we can do. I think the next Seed Bomb, he is finally within range that the next Seed Bomb takes him out here. We go for it, and finally the Seed Bomb is enough to take this thing out, which is nice, and that's going to knock him down to just one Pokemon as we get some more HP back with the leftovers. So unfortunately, we're not really going to get to see the end of this match, probably, although we pretty much know how it ends at this point. His last Pokemon is the Heracross, and all this thing really has to do is just wake up and hit us with any attack, and we've lost. So there's not much we can do here. We know none of our attacks are even normal effective against it, so we're just going to click Seed Bomb here, as he does stay asleep, actually, this turn, which is hilarious enough. We are going to go for the Seed Bomb, and it's actually going to do a decent amount of damage to this thing, to my surprise. Looks to be maybe a 3-hit KO. And then we are going to get some HP back with the leftovers as time runs out. So, unfortunately, that's going to be the game, because his last Pokemon does, in fact, have more health than ours. So, yeah, time is up, and that is game. So we are going to lose that one, 1-1 to Chris. But that was a great match, actually. Very close, very competitive. Definitely could have gone either way. At the end of the day, had the timer not played a factor, it would have just came down to whether or not he could have got the wake up or not on that next turn, I believe. So yeah, that's really what it would have come down to. So who knows? I believe he had burned 2 turns of sleep at that point. So what it looks like it would have come down to is, had the timer not played a factor, it would have come down to whether or not he could have woken up on the 3rd turn and taken us out with any attack. Because I believe if he doesn't wake up, I believe the next Seed Bomb it might be a roll, but I think the next Seed Bomb puts him within range that a Sucker Punch takes him out on the next turn. So it really just would have been a matter of whether or not he stayed asleep for one more turn. But yeah, that was a very close, very competitive game. They don't get much closer than that. Unfortunately, we do take the technicality loss, but that is the way it goes sometimes. So that's it. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. Also, this is going to be the last match that I post with this team. I had a lot of fun using it, and it was very successful. But as is always the case, I am going to be putting it to the side. And actually, I am going to be taking a little bit of a break from creating original new singles teams here to go ahead and turn out different kinds of battles for you guys. So I'm actually looking into getting a few multi-battles going for you guys. That's something that I have not done in a very, very long time. But I'm looking to have the return of multi-battles here at my channel. So that's going to be what we're going to be doing for a little bit after this. So stay tuned for that. That's it, and we'll see you next time.